Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? How important is customer retention? Well, it's vital important to a business. So 5 to 25 times more costly to acquire a new customer than keeping your existing customer. That's a lot because we're paying a lot and we're looking at the lifetime value of our customer and the customer acquisition cost. So we're looking closely at that. And we want to keep our costs as low as we can to keep our revenue higher. We want to maintain our customers. We want to try to retain as many as we can. We know there's always attrition. We know we will lose customers, but we want to see what we can do to keep as many as possible. Is it linked to growth? Yes, customer retention is indeed linked to growth. So we want to keep our customers happy and loyal to our brand. So there's a bit of a difference between loyalty and satisfaction. We'll go over that a bit. We look at the customer life cycle model. So ideally, we would certainly want to have our customers starting out with our product, and the ideal customer it stays with us during the entire time. But that's not always what happens. Sometimes people silently leave. And then there are unhappy customers that leave. And we want to try to get to the root of these areas as closely as we can. So I mentioned loyalty and satisfaction, two different elements. We want to be sure we understand the difference between the two. A satisfied customer, much more difficult to measure the customer's satisfaction. It's the customer's attitude regarding the product, service, or brand. But customer loyalty is very, very different. It's the way the customer behaves. So how that customer behaves in being loyal to that brand is very different than just being satisfied. Just because they're satisfied doesn't mean they're going to come back. Well, they may be satisfied with a product, but somebody else came along and they are charging a little bit less, and I'm not loyal, I'm just satisfied, I might try something else. But if I'm loyal to my brand, for example, I'm very loyal to the Kirkland brand. I shop at Costco quite extensively, and I am very loyal to that Kirkland brand. I know that the products are good quality, they're reasonably priced, and I am loyal to that brand. Will I buy other products? Yes, of course, there's always times, but that's my go-to. I am loyal. I tend to look at that product line before I buy another product line. So the problem with just being satisfied, having customer satisfaction, it really is a poor indicator of future behavior. Will they come back and purchase from you again? It's not a good measurement for repeated customer, retaining those customers. So it really doesn't predict future purchases, expanding revenue, upselling, that sort of thing, how long they will remain as a customer as opposed to churning or losing them as a customer. Their willingness to recommend. Just because they're satisfied doesn't necessarily mean they'll be recommending a friend or referring anyone. It's a poor predictor of organic growth and a poor predictor of the customer acquisition costs, as well as a higher lifetime value of the customer. Now we have certain retention tactics we can look at as well. We want to develop good customer relationships, right? Because that helps to create loyalty. We want to reduce buyer's remorse, assess the shifting customer preferences, because customers change their preferences. So we want to be able to assess that and be in tune with changing preferences, increasing switching costs. So how can we make it difficult or more costly for our customer to switch to our competitor? You may want to consider that. Respond quickly to defects. So we have defectors, responding quickly to them, finding out what occurred. And because I've had situations in the past where I've had something go wrong, but the company was quick to respond and remedied the situation and they were able to keep me as a customer. So something definitely to think about. So customers, we want to look at specific elements that can help. What? Trust, yes. Accountability, communication, transparency. What else? There are many other things that we can think about. When we think about the Tesla brand, how do customers feel about that brand? Well, I can tell you that customers that own and love their Tesla, they love that Tesla. They are extremely loyal to that brand. They have quite a thing going for themselves with creating good, loyal customers. Want to reduce buyer's remorse. So I had buyer's remorse when I owned a Mazda SUV, CX-5. I was happy with that car. And I thought, oh, I think I want to trade up and get a better car. So I'm going to get myself an Audi Q5 and $20,000 more than the car that I was used to owning and driving. And so after I purchased that car, I had serious buyer's remorse. And the company didn't reach out to me, didn't do anything. I wound up selling the car back, not just because of the $20,000 increase payment on the car, but also the driver's seat was incredibly uncomfortable, and they would not do anything to remedy the situation. I am not an Audi customer any longer. I had buyer's remorse with that automobile. And now I have a Mazda CX-5 again. So I'm very happy with that car. We have things that we can do to assess shifting customer preferences. Certainly we can survey our customers. We can perhaps do customer observations, or we can also do different types of group interviews as well, or any type of experimentation. So there are different things we can do. Well, focus groups we can do as well. So there are several different things that we can do to find out what kind of shifting preferences there are for our customer. Now, when we look at increasing switching costs, we want to consider where they are on the scale from low to high. So we think about Apple. If you have an iPhone and you're accustomed to that iPhone, switching to an Android is probably not an option. Well, there is a cost. Also, if you're looking at PCs versus the Mac, the switching cost, you're buying a new computer, and the switching costs are high. With an automobile, the switching costs are very high as well. So something to think about, how we can position ourselves to create higher switching costs for our particular, oftentimes services, software products, different things of that nature. And quickly to defects, very important. Had Audi reached out to me and done something, well, maybe I would have made a customer, but that did not happen. Asking customers why they are no longer interested in the product, or trying to get that information, or just, keeping in touch with them. And if they have a problem, to address it and not cover it up and pretend that it's not what it really is. Just address it head on. We have several retention tools. So some of them are like creating a loyalty program. That could be a very good way to go. And it can be done so many different ways. Increasing triggers. So what are triggers? There are ways to convince someone to make a purchase, right? And we will go over that. Customer relationship management systems are available for us as well. Database management, there are many different tools out there on the market. Using the surveys for the Net Promoter Score, looking at that, we'll go over that as well. Ongoing quality assurance, making sure get feedback from your customers every now and then, see if you can poll them or survey them to find out if things are working properly. Addressing quality control, customer service, and so forth. So here's an interesting retention tool. So we get a text. This is obviously a Apple product. So we get a text. Hi, Charlie. This is a reminder of your appointment on 5/12/15 at 1 p.m. Reply yes to confirm and to cancel or stop to quit. So very nice to be able to get this, because you may have forgotten about your appointment. whatever that appointment might be. It could be servicing your car, it could be a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment. But one thing I noticed here, so if you look at 5/21 or 5/12, excuse me, so May 12th, but this was sent in July, a little late. Timeliness is important. Okay, so here's another one. It's 9 o'clock. Wonder Shop sends you a text message. Hey, 2 items in your shopping cart are now on sale. Get them today. Well, you may look at that and say, oh yeah, if you're a customer, yeah, you know what? Let me go get them. I forgot I left those, that abandoned shopping cart online. Let me go in and purchase those items. Or you may say to yourself, or the customer would be saying, oh, they were a little high priced and at the last minute, I just decided not to purchase them. But now if they're on sale, let me go back and take a look. I might purchase them now. So this might be a good way to engage your customers, to drive them down that funnel and have them make that purchase. Right? So those are good ways. Now, there are some caveats to this. One is that there are people that will deliberately abandon shopping carts so that they get a message like this and they can get it, they can purchase the product for the sale price. But it might still be worth it for you as a business owner to offer it on sale because you're still earning a sizable profit. So here, customer relationship management software program, HubSpot is a good one that has a lot of good resources in it. They do have an autoresponder for emails at no cost under a certain amount of emails. So it's a good way to get started. And if you become familiar with their program, then it makes it easier to stay with them as you grow. So, customer data collection. So what's the most pressing issue related to it? Well, it could be a net promoter score. Getting that one question asked from your customer. How likely are you to recommend whatever the product or service to a friend or colleague? This would be an important net promoter score question to ask. Number one question to ask. So consider that. And you can gauge the score and to see asking 100 people, what is this score? In an example here, 45%. Would that be cause of concern? So you'd want to look at that and analyze it further. We have quality assurance, quality control. We want to take a look at those areas as well, see if there are any issues or irregularities with our product or the way it's being handled or our service, and then watching quality control. Another thing that, because more businesses now are virtual, they're online, they're based for, we want to be able to have a good an answering system. For example, 24/7 chat. Now here, this particular example is a little dated, but still it's a good example. We have a phone number, so someone who's the type of person that wants to pick up the phone and talk to someone, they can do that. It's right there, plain as can be. If someone who wants to fill out a form, you can fill out the form right here. And then there's a chat feature over here. And then they have their information. There's also, so there's 3 different calls to action here. You have the phone number you could use. There's a chat feature that you can use. And then there is a form that you could submit and someone will contact you. So, I'm not really thrilled with the red background myself, but I like the idea of appealing to different types of people and making it available to anyone at any time, 24/7. Okay. Now you may have an answering service, pick up the telephone, but the chat is available 24/7, and then anyone can fill it out, and then you'll respond to them during business hours, of course. So in summary, happy, keeping customers happy and loyal, that is the key. We want to keep that, want to go in the strategic direction that we want to go in using tactics and tools. So some of the tools we discussed, hopefully you'll be able to think about those tactics and tools this particular case study of Fitbit retaining their customers, because they have not done a very good job in doing so. And very curious to see how you assess this case study. And I'm looking forward to your responses. Thank you.